Lift Airline has opened its site for bookings. Its 3 Airbus A320 aircraft take to the skies on the 10th of December 2020, just in time for the festive season, flying from Johannesburg to Cape Town and to George. Lift Airline's Gidon Novick is no stranger to the industry, having founded Kulula and previously being the CEO of Comair. He says the airline will create jobs and assist tourism, much needed in the COVID-19 pandemic. Lift Airline's founder, Gidon Novick, joins us now. Great to have you. Welcome.
Thanks, Leanne. Nice to be here.
So you're no stranger to the airline industry, but this year, I can only imagine, has made you feel like a stranger because of the bad times. I mean, talk to us about launching an airline at a time like this.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolutely crazy time for, I guess, for everybody, but in the world of travel, particularly crazy. And ironically, it's just provided such a, in our view, a perfect opportunity to launch something new, take advantage of what's happened and what's happening, and just really get back to the fact that people want to travel, people want to connect. And what's really brilliant is that South Africans want to explore their own country, and we're seeing an incredible take-up from locals who are traveling locally and wanting to see this beautiful country.
And at the moment, it feels like there's just not too many options around anymore, because obviously it has been severely battered and airlines are just, they don't have the capacity to support markets much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, airlines just, got themselves into pretty much a mess, taking on too much debt and really, in many cases, unsustainable business models that were never going to last. So it really is important to recreate that model. One of the key things with the model going forward is that there needs to be a lot of flexibility, both in terms of the business model, but also in terms of travelers. People are looking for flexibility. Will I be able to change my flight? Will I be able to cancel my flight if I need to? And that's why that's a really important part of the model going forward, is that flexibility is a key component.
And that is key, because now I want to talk to your business model, because obviously you're coming in at a different angle. So given that you've actually partnered with former Uber executive Jonathan Ayash and used the Uber business plan for operations, what are you going to be offering clients? I see Jonathan sitting in the background. Hi, Jonathan. Nice to see you.
Hi, I'll take off your mask.
Okay, if you want to join us, come and join the conversation. Come talk to us. Now that I got both of you,
spontaneous.
I mean, it is quite spontaneous, but that's what we like here on Morning Live. So, I mean, you guys obviously coming up with an idea, different business model. We know how successful Uber has been. How are you bringing this into the airline industry? What is your model?
I suppose it's taking the approach that we took at Uber to customer support, to the customer journey, really putting them front and center in everything we do. So it's not a transactional relationship that, at least I feel as a airline user, we're thinking about, okay, in this journey, how can we make it easier for a customer at any point? So flexibility is one touch point, how they're treated at the airport is another. And we've got some really exciting ideas that we'll start sharing a little bit closer to the time, and hopefully the early passengers will feel and share more broadly as they enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And also technology. I mean, Jonathan's just brought an incredible perspective on the use of technology. I mean, technology is, literally overtaking our lives in every respect. And there's so many ways that we are finding that we can use technology to make that journey better.
Yeah, and that's the reality, is that we are living in a technological age. We're also living in an age where you have to learn to expect the unexpected. And sometimes when you're booking on airlines that are so rigid that you lose the money, you can't reschedule. It's something that clients are not wanting anymore. When we look at the Uber model, is it going to be anything similar to how you're going to be running this airline?
Well, you're not going to be able to call a plane to your home.
And you're not going to be able to change your journey midway, as much as we thought that may work. Somebody say, on the way to Cape Town, would they be able to create a stop-off in Bloemfontein? And we said, probably not.
Yeah. But what?
But we'll be able to split the fare. You'll be able to split the fare amongst 180 other people, so you're not on the hook for the whole flight.
Well, that's good news. That's good news.
Yeah, it would have been quite expensive to pay for the whole thing yourself.
Can you imagine? But listen, on a serious note, you talk about a fare. What are we looking at? Because, I mean, when we talk of the business model of Uber, that was what made it really, really attractive, as it suddenly came in at a decent price that people were able to get transport from one place to the next, and that saw a lot of South Africans taking to it. However, airline industry, tickets are astronomical. Where are you guys coming in at a competitive rate?
Yeah, so it's one of the things we're trying to do. I mean, we're not coming in to crush prices and undercut. That's not a sustainable business model. We need to be really competitive, and we're also trying to narrow the band a little bit. You know, what happens is that typically some people get a really, really good deal, and then some people get a really, really bad deal. You know, particularly people that leave it to the last minute. We're going to try and, moderate that a little bit and make it generally more affordable. But really, really importantly is to bake in the flexibility into the price. So you don't have all these surprise costs that come in later, but, when you need to change your flight.
Yeah. So just some logistics. So we know, as we have said, that your first flight is on the 10th of December. I mean, that's got to be a very interesting one for you and an exciting moment. 3 aircraft that you have got in the fleet at the moment, going from Johannesburg to Cape Town and then to George as well. Talk to us about how many times it'll fly in a single day, daily basis.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that for now. And which airport are you flying to and from?
Okay, so our Tambo is the Joburg airport. I think, since the Gautrain came about, it really changed the dynamics of that airport. It's a great airport. There's lots of extra spare capacity, as you can imagine. In terms of frequency, there will be up to 5 return flights a day on the route. And then George, just to talk about that, because I think it's quite interesting what's happened in the George area. And it's quite anecdotal, but I think it's a reality is that post-COVID, so many people that want to spend time at the coast or have a home at the coast or are now able to do so and continue working from a remote location and commute up to Johannesburg many times for business. So that dynamic's really changed, and we want to make sure that we servicing areas that kind of support remote working in the post-COVID world.
Yeah. So I'm on your site already, lift.co.za. Talk to me about the name. I heard there was a bit of a competition as to how you came up with the name.
We realized we weren't the most creative in the naming department, so we put it out to South Africans to come up with our name, and got just about 25,000 suggestions. Some were very creative, some were very funny.
Some were terrible.
Some were terrible. There were a lot of suggestions, and eight very creative South Africans came up with the name Lift, and we just loved it.
Yeah.
It just resonated with everyone on the team, and that's how we chose our name.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like what personally I love about the name is that there's obviously the practical kind of element that links to the physics of flying and going up. But there was so much sentiment that came through around particularly the times that we are living in, which are difficult times and tough times and in many cases miserable times. And just to have a focus on optimism and upliftment. Obviously, we're going to do it in our small way in terms of air travel, but we want to be sending out a broader message that things will get better. They already are getting better, and Lift is about optimism.
Yeah, and that's a nice message to be given out. So I'm looking at your prices. I've booked myself a flight to Cape Town. Well, not in the monetary terms, and it's basically we're looking at about 1,995 Rand, that's for one person to Cape Town, and 1,795 back. But I am looking at peak times. So, I mean, you have to obviously, these prices are not a steal, but you're finding that gap. I can imagine. How many people are you employing here?
So if you look at the entire operation, including Global, who operates the aircraft and They've got maintenance people, flight crews, cabin crews. It's around about 200 people. But what's interesting about the airline industry is it's such a great enabler of employment, both in and around the industry, airports, company people, catering people, cleaning companies. It's a great employer of people. But the bigger picture is the enabler of tourism. Tourism is the most important industry in terms of job creation in South Africa. It's gone through its worst time probably in history. And it's so critically important to the country that tourism is enabled, air travel is enabled, hospitality businesses get back on their feet. Just a really important part of our economy going forward.
Guys, I wish you the best of luck. I really do. It's not an easy industry. It never has been. It's a difficult time, but I suppose it takes brave souls like you to come out and grab the bull by the horns and give us another option, which is so important in this industry. Lift launching, it's already out, it's live. So this is a new airline in South Africa. You'll see it taken to the skies. I gather it's a bright orange or yellow plane because your website's bright yellow. It's kind of the morning light colors.
There we go.
Nice one. Nice choice. Gidon Novick, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. The founder of Lift talking to us. And also a nice appearance there by his partner that's all in this Uber executive, Jonathan Ayash, who partnered with him, and they are working on this together. Thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful weekend and good luck. All right. So in the corner of your screen,